I wanted to, but there are also people that didn't know about this building exists, and I think that we can change that. I believe the city deserves choices, and today I'm standing here to create them with you guys. So I wanted to start with the presentation, and if you guys look in your packets, everyone do have a presentation as well. So this is the team, along with myself, Camille, which is the chief crew member, along with Damon, which is the crew member. Keep going. Go ahead. What is our mission? Our mission, the purpose of this presentation is to provide you with the plan that will help build on the City of Glenarden movement, City on the Move. Implement strong relationships with businesses in the area and help create a shift in each guest experience here at the Gold Room in the Community Center. Our mission is to create a space with not only superior customer service, but an inviting venue for all clients at the Gold Room. The staff's mission is to enhance the area's hidden gem and invest in and attract more diverse traffic as well. What is our vision? Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier venue in the Prince George's area. To achieve this, it will require the collective effort of everyone involved. The strategy will be developed in stages, which each quarter representing a distinct phase. Determination of each quarter will be determined by the needs of the city and the Gold Room. So what does this look like? We're going to address all the concerns of the Gold Room and the Community Center and the city. Implement a plan and design that connect to not only the Glenarden residents, but traffic outside of Glenarden area. Develop a strategy to maintain the existing policies and procedures and generate additional income in alternative sectors. So what does it start with? It starts with the people of the city of Glenarden, and hearing out their concerns. And then we'll go to a plan, designing a plan around the concerns that's provided to us through emails and surveys. And from that process, we're going to put together an action plan. And with that action plan, it's going to create clients that will turn into advocates that will actually bring in new revenue. So goals for the Gold Room. And we're looking at ourselves as the city you love, but the team that creates the yes. So communication will be a big part of that. Better products, and we're going to increase the increase of revenue. What are some of our biggest threats and challenges? Some of our biggest threats and challenges includes upgrades, updated legal documentation, visibility, storage, and maintenance. So with the communication, our objective is to transform the manner in which our audience engages with us. The means of communication will encompass and enhance email connections, an online system, the creation of surveys to gather feedback from our clients, a strong presence on social media platforms, the implementation of updated rules and regulations, and the development of a more welcoming space and experience for our guests to relish. Additionally, we will present in fostering relationships with local mom and pop stores and businesses in the vicinity. So better products. The assortment of products will include upgraded ingredients for both locations, an online presence through HoneyBook that will enhance the convenience for our patrons, and renovations featuring new and improved contemporary or modern offerings. This will help us to remain competitive with other establishments in the vicinity, in the area. HoneyBook is a online system where you can actually send your clients the invoices, contracts, rental agreements, any type of reports that they have, so they can go on. We can send that over to them, and it's just a quick way of not just coming in here, that we'll be able to send that over to them.
Okay, so it's just like daily classes, but it's not like maybe a calendar that people can use for availability.
Yes, it is that. So you'll be able to. We'll have a link where they can go in and then schedule their appointments to come in.
Okay, but will it have availability for the full room itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep. Revenue and increase. There are several methods to enhance the revenue for our venues. We can achieve this by offering a diverse range of inventory, such as tables, chairs, linen, signage, and lighting options. Additionally, it is crucial to regularly maintain our facility and organize quarterly in-house events. These are just a few strategies among many others that can contribute to increasing revenue. So some of the revenue increases: inventory, enhancement fees, in-house events, and then also the word of mouth, which is our advocates. Okay. So right now I wanted to pause and then try to go over the rules and regulations. I did wanted to start with the community center first, if that was okay.
So if you open up your package, it's on the right-hand side. And it should either be the first or second package.
So, Ms. Hunt, since we're starting with the community center, is the plan that you've been discussing thus far in terms of renovations, et cetera, do those extend to the community room, or is that just for this?
Yes. And we'll also go over the 1 year plan that I have for both locations as well. hmm So right now, I just wanted to jump down because hours, locations, inquiries, site tours, and renovations, I think, is self-explanatory. Unless you guys wanted to go over that, that I just wanted to jump to the type of events, which is on the second page. So events held at the Glenarden Community Center at Wilmore Town Center will be meetings and repasses 60 guests and under. The usage. So the usage will be Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. These are some of these were the times that were already in place already. So I just adopted it over to these rules and regulations. The capacity will still remain the same. We did add on equipment, which we had already started purchasing. So anyone that will rent over at this community center will have access to rent these options as well.
And are those the options that are in this room now? Like,
So we are looking to expand our inventory, which will have we'll try to run out, purchase the bars and the chairs that's presented here today, and then the furniture and stuff that you see today. So that's an addition. I just wanted to give you some type of visual perspective of like what a package will actually look like if we wanted to do that as an upgrade.
okay, so these available rent.
These are items that's ready right now.
But the 4 bullet points above, the 5-foot round tables, 8-foot, all of these are things that would be available to them in the cost of their rental. So it's not an extra.
So the tables are, but the cocktail tables and some of these other items will be an additional cost.
So the 5-foot round tables and the 8-foot rectangular tables, those are the tables that are kind of standing.
Yes,
The cocktail tables
Eh,
would be extra.
correct. Along with the,
All one chair.
so and that will depend on what type of chairs that we get, and that will be an additional enhancement fits.
The ballroom chair, like, is it?
The standard brown.
Okay, because I think that it makes sense to rent for upgrade, but
Mhm.
like as a standard
Mhm. Yep. So that will be the standard, and then you'll have the option to do an upgrade. Mhm.
And just to be clear, Ms. Bud,
Mhm.
are we saying that the brown chairs are the chairs that we're going to try to get 80 of, or are we going to upgrade for different chairs that will substitute for the 80 chairs that we already currently have?
So we will try to. Right now, we have the 80 chairs over there, but if they wanted to substitute that, then they'll get, they'll have another option.
So like an upgrade would be.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I guess for me, like, what bucket, I mean, not me, but for the
Okay.
That's fine. So I will ask that council will please speak in the mic so that if there are citizens online that they can hear you, because although we hear you, citizens online who are witnessing cannot.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
You wanted to add something?
Just wanted to add something too. Some of the upgrades are actually here today, like the little bulkies, just the little candles are in the middle part of
The
table.
mirrors.
Those
Mm-hmm.
are some of the things that are available. We can also show you some of like the table signage and stuff that we have, and then also to the spandex table coverings. Those are also available.
If renters want to bring their own items in, is there a charge for them to do that?
No.
Okay. Even if we have to remove the standard items that are in there, we're not going to charge them for that?
I mean, that's something we can think about doing.
I'm not suggesting that you would.
No,
I'm just thinking.
no. But right now, no.
Okay.
Okay. External equipment. Delivery and pickup of rented equipment and related items to be used by renters must be completed within the rental period. Again, all of this is self-explanatory, the setup and breakdown. Everything needs to be done within the 30 days prior. However, depending on once they sign their rental agreement, I would definitely need something ahead of time, and then we are implementing any changes the day of. There will be a fee assessed for that. I do want to jump down to catering, which is the most important thing. Right now, there is, I've been, with the landlord on over there, there was some miscommunication in reference to no music and just being strictly meetings. So this is one of the reasons why some of the we had to switch it over until we can do some further investigations of what we actually need to do over there. But right now, we wanted to just keep it just strictly to meetings and repasses. Also, with the food, if anyone is bringing in food, that is an iffy situation. So we wanted to make sure that all clients, they have a certificate of insurance, just in case if something happens, that we'll have that, and then the liability waiver form is signed, just in case to take us off of from any type of liability purposes.
Okay, can we go back to a second about the conversation? Are you talking about with Urban Edge? You had the conversation about the permitted uses for that room?
I don't know if it's Urban Edge, Bev, or not, but the landlord over at the Woodmore Town Center, the community center.
Okay.
Yes, Len Snyder, yes.
Okay.
I was told there's no music, it's only strictly meetings for council members. So until, my concern is just to actually just pause on parties or whatever that's been going on, and to only do meetings and repasses until we can try to figure out something later.
Okay. And then for the catering, is there an option for citizens to sign just a liability waiver if they don't have a caterer that has a certificate of insurance? Because
given how that room has been used historically for like baby showers or things like that, it may be people, cooking food. The cost of the room itself lends itself to an event that's not supposed to be expensive. So having a caterer could really add into that cost. But if we had the option for the renters to, I'm not sure what the proper term is, but basically absolve the city from any liability due to the food that they bring in.
So that's what I was saying. So they can bring in, let's say, like a Sardi's or something like that. However, they're still, if they're bringing in food, we still want them to be, if something happened, with they're cooked, like, the Schaefer dishes or whatever, something happened, God knows, whatever, then we still have a certificate of insurance, but they can do a one-day insurance thing on Event Helper. So the client itself can actually get a one-day insurance policy, and it won't come through the client, don't come through the caterer.
And also, too, I wanted to add, if you guys have any like really in-depth questions, that was an in-depth one, if you guys could write it down on the index cards on your left-hand side of your folder so we can utilize that for later on to answer everything fully later.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm getting at is I'm cooking food in my house and bringing it over. We're saying that that's not permissible at all?
No.
Even with them signing a waiver?
I wouldn't. Okay. So if we want to jump down, and then these are, and I also included like what was need to be included in what they need to sign off. So the signed client usage agreement form, which is also stated in here, the signed liability waiver form, and then a certificate of insurance, which will need to be signed as well. Let's go to the prices, and that's actually on the last page. So the max time for just to rent the room is 4 hours, 30 minutes to set up, 30 minutes to break down. The security deposit, which will be $200, and then the usage fee will be $100. For repass services, they will actually have an hour to set up and then an hour to break down, but the fees will remain the same. And then I also included upgraded rentals, add-ons, violation fees, and then decor, like if any damage fees on here. And that's with the community center.
I'm sorry to harp on this, but I just want to make sure, because I know you're going to be looking for our support on this, and I'm just having a really hard time with understanding the community room that is $100. Now we're going to ask people to get a certificate of insurance for $1 million. That it just doesn't match up, particularly with how that space is used and who our primary audience is for using that. So I do want us to think about what we can. What other alternatives we can explore for people to be able to bring in food that is not necessarily catered. And I'm also curious even how this applies to, bringing in refreshments. Like, what if I went into Wegmans to get a tray of sandwiches? Do I now have to get a certificate of insurance? Like, when do you need to have that? And again, it just really is, I think, going to be a prohibitive requirement for our residents to use that space.
Well, again, I don't have all of the answers. Again, this is something. This is just a first step, right? But again, I do, from events that I've seen in the past in reference to people staying over, people is damaged. leaving damages, and $50 just for the rental fee is not covering
I get that part.
everything.
I get that part.
As far as the food, we can look at that again to see what will work best over at the community center. I do, however, think that we need something in place just in case if something happens, we can have something on our behalf.
Yeah, I'm
that covering
thinking
us.
something like, I'm bringing in my own food, I assume all the rest, the city of Glenarden will not have any risk, something like that, where they can sign and, absolve us of that liability, but also not require them to get $1 million worth of insurance.
Okay. So also, we just have to think about any type of like fires or anything like that. Just the worst case scenario type of thing as well too.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
My understanding is with the catering and with the food, if you go to a place that has a certified kitchen that the county has already deemed that the kitchen is, because a lot of people use these different kitchens across the county that have already been certified by the county to say that, it's okay to cook food there or prepare food there, that the temperature is right, they have the right facilities and everything. Like she mentioned, Sardi's. If you go to Sardi's and buy some food or go to Wegmans, we know that they're using certified kitchens. But for somebody to cook food in their home and to bring it to a facility, that's what the county, when you read the health department rule, the COBRA rules, that's what the county and the state of Maryland is against.
Yeah, I can see that as well, but I guess what I'm saying is that the use of that space, we're talking about 50 people or less, that's not the same as the gold room, right, where it's an event, perhaps a wedding or, something. This might just be a meeting, right? This might be, I don't know, the Women's Association wanting to get together and bring food to meet over food. Somebody's fried some chicken in their house, and just is bringing it. That would seem to me to be typical uses for that space versus the gold room, which is more of a formal, perhaps, event that is being used where a caterer would be something that is more likely to be utilized. So I just want to make sure that we're kind of matching up the requirements for services with the typical uses of the space, particularly if we're saying we're only limiting it to meetings and repasses.
To be honest, I don't think that it really matters of like what type of event it is. It's just a matter of
It
the
being a
liability
public venue.
Yeah, the liability costs, like on us as a venue, just making sure that we're good on our end.
Okay.
It was my understanding that this originally, that room was to be used for citizens, but I see here you're saying rental rate. It wasn't supposed to be rented out. I do agree with the increase from $50 to $100 because probably just for them going in there cleaning it up doesn't even pay for their hourly wages. But that is a concern. But then I don't know about the security deposit.
Yeah, that's a steep.
That's questionable as well because again, that wasn't that particular facility wasn't intended for. Creating any revenue or anything in rental. It just was a
So
courtesy.
that's the concern that I'm coming up with, and that's why I just did it for just maybe possibly meetings because, a party can turn into something where it's more risk rather than a meeting is concerned. As far as damages is concerned. And staying overtime. Those are some of the biggest concerns that we had over there. And then just trying to recoup, at the end of the day, and we only got $50. It wasn't anything there.
I noticed that also the listen. So you do not provide the paper tablecloths anymore?
No.
Good. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They either have that option to purchase the tablecloths from us, well, not the linen from us, or they can bring something in. We're good?
I have a quick question. Ms. Bunn, when you just mentioned, like, when people would stay over, is there a late fee penalty, like,
It wasn't anything in place.
okay, are we saying that there's one now or no? There is, I can't see, I don't have my glasses. Okay, okay, I see down there. Okay, thank you.
And so when they do sign the rental agreement, they will sign the master usage agreement sheet, which is in your file as well. And then that will have all of the, the rules and regulations on there.
With this venue, what type of persons do you see renting this space? I mean, is there a pattern of a certain type? Is it always baby showers? Is it always repasses?
I haven't had, well, the majority of them are like baby showers. Yep. But again, if the confliction with, only supposed to be meetings, no music, the setup time instead of breakdown time, what party if you're having a party, the setup time it's not going to be right. And then if you're only charging $50 just for 50, it doesn't match up. The pricing that we're charging them and then the setup times, it's not matching up.
All right, thank you.
When they choose to not rent but use the room, are they aware that they're not supposed to have music?
Yes.
And has it been found that they do it anyway, or they comply?
Well, and Camille, you can jump in because Camille normally handles most of the events over there. But from what I know, that they comply with the music. We do get some setback a little bit when they're doing the rental agreement. It was like, okay, well, this is what we did back, a long time ago. But I do inform them that this is what it is right now.
I think we can afford to be a little bit more clear and specific about what we mean by no music. And I don't know if this is a change, but I've rented that space a lot of times, and what I've been told is that it's no sort of amplified music. So you can't have a DJ, you can't have speakers. But I've done things like with the moms group, we decorated Christmas ornaments, and we played music from our playlist on the phone. So it's, are we really saying like there's no music, or are we saying there's no DJ? Or I mean, even Old Navy has music playing, Wegmans has music playing in the aisle. So
Even with the old rules and regulations, it states no music. Again, that's something that we probably need to just come back to, speak with the landlords, look at the contract to see exactly what we can do over there.
yeah, I think that, I mean, just to say no music, it's,
Yeah, I agree.
So I think if we can get some clarification, because I could see where a DJ or, bringing in speakers, that could possibly disturb the peace. But there being music that's playing just so it doesn't sound like dead air,
Yep.
should be permissible in my opinion.
And I would like to add something on that. For the most part, I do feel like people do comply with the no music policy. Every now and then, you might see someone try to pull out a speaker, and then you have to go over the rules and everything with them again. But I also noticed that besides the baby showers, it's been a lot of nonprofit organizations and/or fraternities or sorority organizations. Just having a gathering. But for the most part, I feel like people are using it for the meetings. But we have had those baby showers as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I wanted to go ahead and move over to the gold room. So some of these items are, it's the same, that's been adopted and just we just went ahead and just, transfer them over. The usage hours, we have, changed. So from Monday through Thursday, it will be, events from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 12 a.m., and Sundays from 9 to 10 p.m. With the capacity is 250. However, depending on the setup of the room, can change. Also, for the furniture and fixtures, it's the same thing as the community center. We put the additional items here, and we're also working on getting new items as well. Again, we need the final count 2 weeks prior, and then the renter must submit final the prices, their final payment 30 days prior. Final count 2 weeks before the event. And again, for the same day changes, there is a fee for that. So, go ahead.
I do have a question. Looking at the gratis and the discounts, I think number one, where it says nonprofit and they're entitled to a reduced rate, that makes sense. The last part, it says, and a gratis application has been approved by the city council. Why do we need to approve a published discounted rate? Because it's not gratis. The gratis ones, I don't necessarily agree that we need to approve them all either, but at least for the nonprofit where it says they're eligible for reduced rates, which means they're paying, it's not gratis. Why do we need to?
I don't think, maybe that was a
Okay.
but I believe that only goes through myself and Beverly.
Okay. So I would make sure that that's clear and make sure that those rates are published. And then on the gratis, are we saying that it can only go to a nonprofit or an individual?
So from the gratis, I'm only adopting just what was before. So I believe it's the state. Hold on one second. Anyone that was like that, city officials had the right. So only city officials can only get that. Can waive that. Can get the waive. Well, can be waived for that.
Okay, yes, because I think that the individual piece kind of makes it seem like it could be any person who requests gratis. And I don't know that that's what we're saying.
And then also, I believe the Glenarden organizations can get gratis as well.
Right. But a nonprofit, like a government, is not considered a nonprofit. They're a nonprofit is like a private organization that's
Okay.
not. So I just want to make sure if we're saying other government officials outside of the city can use it as well, that's clear or more clear.
Okay. That's fine. I'll look at that.
And I feel like we voted on this and we talked about it, but I'm not exactly sure, so
We
correct me
did,
if I'm
but-
wrong. I just don't know why we have to approve every gratis application. If they've applied, if the terms are saying that it can be waived up to one time per year, if they're requesting it, and it's the one time per year, and that's why I guess I'm getting at, can we specify who's eligible to get gratis, so it's not so
I
subjective?
mean, it can, I mean, we're getting the application, we're getting the letter. It can go from between myself and the event manager. From what I was told, the council's supposed to approve it. However, that can be changed to just the event manager and the city manager.
Ms. Bunn,
But I mean, I put something in place where I'm keeping track of everyone that does, get approved. So I will know, if you got it before or whatever.
Yeah, I guess and I know it may just be my own style of leadership. Like, I feel like we should empower people to do what they're good at, and escalations, like if someone's coming for a second gratis, some extenuating circumstance, then. But if there's like stipulations to say this is what, if you have this and this criteria met, then you are eligible for one time. But just trying to reduce the number of things that have to come to us for approval.
yeah, Ms. Bunn, if I may, one of the things, like sticking to that gratis section, I recall that we had, this is pre-you, of course, the part that says nonprofit organization, we specified that it had to be a Glenarden nonprofit organization, given that we're in the DMV, and we don't want every single nonprofit to come here, and we won't be making any form of revenue at all. And I see the part about individual, we already kind of talked about that, but again, we have a lot of citizens here as well. So if we're going to be having this in here, I could see this opening up a can of worms
The
for,
Glenarden organizations.
well, we can say Glenarden nonprofits, right? Like still in where it says gratis. Gratis is a waived rental fee, blah, 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 that is granted to a Glenarden nonprofit organization. Or if we say the part where it says individual,
Yeah.
that can be problematic.
Okay.
That's where it could be, I think that part right there
Okay.
is the part where I can see it being brought to the council or being brought to somebody for certain circumstances, but to leave it open-ended like that, over 6,000 residents can come here and say like, well, it says it in here.
Exactly. So that's why I was, getting at, like, let's be specific about who. Like, if we mean former elected officials, or if we mean government officials, like, all of those, whoever those people are,
Gotcha.
so that it's not
Yeah.
subjective.
So it could even read like, because that part can be brought to the council. So it could be read as gratis is a waiver rental fee for use of the Gold Room that is granted to a Glenarden nonprofit organization, period. All gratis applications for individuals or for individual Glenarden residents are reviewed on a case-by-case basis and are subject to, like, that part right there makes more,
Okay.
so that's when people
So the only problem I have with that
probably don't.
around it being an
All other,
individual
all other.
and reviewed on a case-by-case basis is then it becomes subjective.
That's true, too.
And it can, somebody could be like, well, why did you approve them versus approving us? And that's why I'm trying, like, can we just say,
All other?
like, it's who are the specific individuals we're talking about? So then it's not,
okay.
so then it's not
Any other
like
questions?
just, I'm friends with somebody, give it to me, for free. It's, okay,
So-
it's
I'm sorry.
specific types of individuals that can get it.
With the elected officials, then in the 24th Legislative District, if we want to, like, we offer Senator Benson gratis and some of the other delegates, state delegates, Glenn Ivey, who is our congressman, and Jolene Ivey, who is our representative for our area, how would we word it for those folks?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I would say elected officials outside of the city of Glenarden, right? Because I would list city of Glenarden elected officials, although, no, I would take us out, because we're not limited to one time. Because if we're having an event in our capacity as a Glenarden
Elected
council
official.
member,
Right.
it's not our event, right? It's like,
It's a city event.
it's a city event, so we're not limited to the gratis on that. It's more what you just described, like Senator Benson using the room or others using the room who are not.
But I want to challenge you there for a second, where, just on the current city council part, right? where if I'm looking at number 5, and I'm seeing former city council people can have can have gratis for the gold room, right? Is this what we're saying?
Well, I
Right?
feel like,
Then,
yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, if that's what we're saying, right, then myself now, I, in my personal capacity, would want the same thing, not just as a city, like, of course, if as a city council member, if I'm doing an event, it's for the city, regardless of how I look at it, right? But if I'm coming here as Kat Guillaume Delamar wants to hold an event, wants to renew her vows here, and I get that one time, like the same way the former city council members, I feel like that should be something that's in there. And I believe we discussed that before, and I don't know if it was Councilman Herring or whatever, this was the last time we stayed on the phone, and it was like, well, you shouldn't have, and I said that, well, I paid to use this event, and it was open for the city, but I used it, and that's when he said, well, you shouldn't have done that.
So I agree with you on that. So we need to clarify that, because the gratis is, and that's why I was saying, when we have a city event, that's not considered a gratis thing, but it would be, to Councilwoman Guillaume's point, a gratis event if one of us had an event, right? Like I had my father's memorial service, right?
exactly.
So that was like my one gratis for 2023. So that makes sense. On point 5, though, I think the second part of the sentence, the end part, it doesn't match, because it says, or for an elected official to hold a meeting of public interest, and that's not related to former city council. I think that's like another point, which is what we're talking about when we're holding events here. And then we have to figure out, who do we mean as the elected official? Are we talking about city elected officials? Or if Glen Ivy wanted to come here and host...
24th District.
Right, if they wanted to come here and host something, is that gratis, or is that just a permissible use of the city space because it's for the public interest of our citizens?
Well, before it
We
was
had
like,
Anthony
it was
Brown
only, when Anthony Brown came, when he was the rep for our congressman, it was only for informational purposes to the citizens.
Right.
And it was like during the Saturday afternoon, like maybe 10 to 2 on a Saturday. It
Right.
was not prime hours or anything like that. But
Right.
it was only for informational purposes. If Senator Benson wanted to come and do informational purposes, we want to have a meeting, we need a place to meet, to talk about that, all the citizens can come to, But it's for them to have a fundraiser for their particular position, I think that would be, they would have to pay for that.
Yeah, and I actually think they have to pay for it by law anyway. I don't think we're allowed to give it to them for free if it's for a fundraiser, so I don't know if that would, but I think the point is, we should specify who can get it for free, what the criteria are for that, just so that it's not subjective.
And can I elect someone to speak to in reference to going to get that correct information?
I guess since I have so much to say about it, I can help you with that.
Number 4,
That-
non-Glenarden resident, one time per year,
For fun, yeah, that would.
what is that?
What's wrong? Say that again.
Number 4.
This is what was in the.
Take
This
it
was
out. It
in
don't
place,
need to be in
so
there.
I only, just did what was
I
in
mean,
place.
just like right now, we have a former mayor, council, he lives in Georgia, and, they're trying to, of course, you've probably been in contact. Those are the type of things they want gratis. We had like former mayor and councilman Reuben Reed. He hadn't been in office in years, but, his family wanted to have a memorial here. So things like that, gratis, it should not be denied. But as far as, again, citizens, all citizens having gratis, it should be a limited list,
Yeah.
a very limited list. Because and even with the citizens, don't the citizens get a certain percentage?
20%.
Yeah. Is it 20? I thought it was 30.
20%.
It needs to be 30.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll draft something up, I'll send it to the rest of the council for comment, and then I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, so what are we doing now?
Y'all aren't doing anything, we're waiting for my email to come.
Okay, so let me just say this. So the nonprofit number one, I think that the reduced rate should be defined. It shouldn't just be open to just reduced
And the-
rates.
Yeah.
It should be a set number. I agree with in number 2, after you say Glenarden nonprofit organizations, that should be it. Nobody else. And yeah, we're scratching out number 4. And yeah, so I agree with the former city council members and former and current city council members being able to get gratis once a year.
Okay.
And it's only going through, I just wanted to make sure that it will only go through myself and the event, the city manager, or you guys still wanted to?
No, once.
I mean, that would include the mayor too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
but
Former mayor, you said former city council, former elected officials.
Yeah,
should be.
former elected officials. And so once Councilwoman Fareed sends it to the council, we agree on it, then I think it can stay with you and Bev, unless there's extenuating circumstances or special cases where you want to bring it towards council.
yeah, I'm doing the
No,
whole
I think the
discount
Glenarden- The reason
section.
why the council, because we are, when you look at even the flow chart, we are, the gold room is on the side of our,
Yeah.
because it has something to do with funds, and we as council have the duty of funds, we should be included.
Yeah, but if we hire people that
No,
are,
I disagree.
I'll write it, well, y'all can disagree or agree on what I send over. We'll do it in a word so everyone could add it.
You guys good?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to catering for
Did we
the
take
Gold Room.
Excuse me, did we take number 4 out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that was.
we're going to what?
And that is on page 9. All right. So, with all of the caterers, they must comply with the catering procedures and rules and regulations set forth for the city of Glenarden in the health department. So catering service options, runners may select a caterer of their choice to provide catering services to their scheduled event. Again, we do have on site, we have on the website, we have preferred vendors list where you guys can, clients can go and utilize them, or they can also use someone for themselves. This will have to be a licensed and insured caterer. And again, I will need their documentation within 30 days. Required documents, so valid business license, the health department inspection certificate, the Safe Serve, and then also the certificate of insurance. On top of that, the client and the renter, the caterer will have to sign the usage agreement, and then also the catering contract, and then the liability waiver form. Any questions with that? Okay, so with alcohol, also let's jump back. So like if they have, let's say if they didn't want to, they wanted to provide the a Sardi's or someone like that, they will have to again have the certificate of insurance to cover for any damages. Alcohol, now, again, you will need a licensed bartender to be here. And then you would need security. The current security company that we have right now is $60 per hour per officer. And now, again, that would be determined by the amount of guests that you have. All right. Any questions with that?
So going back to the Sardi's, the liability stuff for Sardi's, you're saying, what did you, can you repeat what you said?
That
about
was
the-
just an example. If say if someone just wanted to bring in food.
Yes.
Not home cooked food, but food from a company. Then they will, the client will have to provide the certificate of insurance.
And what would that look like? Like, what would the certificate
So
of
they,
insurance look like?
so it's just they will go to event helper and apply for the 1-day insurance.
Okay, and
for
does it,
that amount.
is it a quick turnaround, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That actually is the same day.
Do you know the cost associated with that?
It depends on like what's all in what they're covering,
Okay.
and then it varies.
So for $1 million policy, is there?
It can be like 40 and up, yeah,
$40?
and up, depending on what they're covering.
Are we going to outline what should be covered?
I could put it in there. Yes, I could do that.
Yeah, so people don't pay more than
Just-
what they need to just get the
I can put
coverage.
that in there.
Or don't get enough of what they need?
Or yeah, don't get enough of what they need. Yeah.
So alcohol, for ticketed events with alcohol must have they must have a drink ticket system. So this is in reference to like a nonprofit only, basically. So or someone that's doing tickets online, or so they will have to have their drink ticket system online as well. We cannot accept any cash here, like through Cash App. The bartender can't take Cash App, PayPal, none of that, because I've seen it where they tried to do it. So we cannot allow them to do that. Everything have to be done online.
Okay, sorry. It looks like we're missing the piece around the requirement for security.
Okay, I can go back.
We need to make sure we put that in there.
What page is that?
And are they required to use the security that,
Yes.
okay.
Again, now, it's still the same with music and entertainment, the same with smoking on the premises. And so now we're moving into prices. So
I'm
for-
sorry. On the music, do we still have that restriction around go-go bands?
Yes.
Okay, where is,
So R&B bands are allowed, but no go-go bands.
okay, can we make sure that's in the contract?
Sure. Neo soul.
But we can play go-go. We just can't have go-go bands.
What about rock bands?
Rock bands.
I mean, because it sounds like we get really specific saying neo soul.
I know. I guess. Yes.
I mean, I would think a heavy metal band would bring just as much trouble as a go-go
Yeah.
band.
I think you could play, I think the thing was you can play go-go music, you can't have a go-go band. I think that's what it was. Like
Live,
like a live go-go band.
So like a DJ can play a go-go music. But
Yeah, I get that, but it's just live bands, like,
yes.
because it does seem like we only saying that go-go bands bring trouble.
Yeah, we could probably get in trouble if we don't allow a rock band to play and don't.
So we could have a live R&B band, or no live bands?
No, live bands,
Live
yes.
bands is fine,
Just no go-go?
but just no go-go band.
But a rock band would be fine, like a heavy metal.
Somebody wanna bring the stylistic
I don't think so, but we haven't came across nothing like that before.
I mean, the demographics are changing, so.
Have somebody to ask.
All right.
Any other?
What do you do when a live band who, just here playing music and they decide to do a go-go number? Do you?
Say it again? Stop.
I mean, this just sounds crazy to me. I know I said that before.
Well, there
I'm saying it
are
again.
some
Sounds crazy to me.
R&B bands that play go-go music. There are some that
Okay.
do that.
Chief, what are your thoughts?
It incites.
The go-go band piece, but, because the crowd that they bring with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So it's specific to the designated go-go bands?
Yeah.
Okay, so that if I had a wedding party here and I had a live band and they played, They just was sing a song and then put some Chuck on, we're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess what I'm just emphasizing is that there are other types of music which also bring crowds that would be less than desirable, and we're not calling them out.
So I guess that's
I
for
think
you.
it's formed in the history
This is
of past
historic.
events, in the history itself,
Now, I mean, how often do we get heavy metal bands?
The demographics of Prince George's County and the city of Glenarden are changing.
So we can make a note of that. No heavy metal, and then go-go bands.
All right.
yeah, I see what Fareed, I see what you're saying.
When the
Any
county
other-
enacted that ordinance, it was because of the issues that they were getting behind go-go, because that was a big thing in Prince George's County, and it led to
But we
a
know
lot
that
of,
every
like you said.
ordinance is not well thought out. We know that certain things are narrowly, addressing narrow issues.
Well, it addressed the issue at the time. That's what they
Right.
do. They address the issue at
Yeah.
the time, and now that times have changed, there's been no update. It's the same thing is still on the books.
All right. Cool.
All right. So, going to the prices, the rental prices for the go room. So for the security deposit, we're gonna go up a little bit. So for well, let me just go back a little bit, because I don't know if we went through that. So non-prime time consists of the Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's non-prime time. So with the security deposit, it's $500. Prime time is $700, and ticket events will be $800. So for the prices, so Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., it will be $175 per hour. Any overtime fee will be $250. And that's for Glenarden residents. And then non-residents will be $225, and for overtime fee will be $300. Fridays will be $225 per hour, overtime fee $265. The non-residents $275 per hour, overtime fee $315. So discounted flat rates, these are the categories that will receive a discount: nonprofit organizations, City of Glenarden employees, PG elected officials. Their prices will be $125 per hour, and the overtime fee will be $250. And then if they're non-residents, $150 per hour, overtime is $250. So going through the prime time,
Excuse me.
go ahead.
On the discounted rates where you have the nonprofit organization, should Glenarden be there, or you just said any nonprofit?
City of Glenarden employees.
No, it
The-
says
Like,
nonprofit organizations.
It should be Glenarden.
Oh, we can
No,
put them
the
there.
Glenarden nonprofit organizations was for the gratis.
Oh. And this is.
Yeah.
Discounted rate, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So discounted rate is
Discounted
available to
rate,
all
yeah.
nonprofits.
All nonprofits get
The
a
gratis option is only for Glenarden nonprofits.
Okay.
Could you repeat the last part about elected officials?
So PG elected officials.
Yeah, where's,
It says PGC elected officials, and it probably should just say, like,
oh,
just elected officials, because it's gonna be outside, we have,
The people outside of.
yeah, District 24 is not Prince George's County, and neither is the,
So they get the same. as
our
the city
senators or
officials of the city.
congressmen.
Okay. Questions? Good.
Okay, good.
I have one.
Okay.
So I see the discounted rate for non-prime time. What if, for example, I wanted it for prime time? Is there a rate associated with that?
You said for prime time? Only you will get those rates through prime time only.
Oh, so those rates
I mean,
are-
non-prime time, I'm sorry.
So if I wanted a prime time,
You will step into these rates down here.
unless I have a gratis.
Correct. All right. So prime time, this is Friday evenings, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. It's $2,100 for 7 hours. This is inclusive of your setup and breakdown. $300 additional for any overtime. $2,150 for 7 hours for the non-resident. Okay, Saturdays during the day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's $22.75 for 7 hours. The $325 additional for the 1 hour overtime fee. And then $24.99 for 7 hours, $357 additional. Saturday evenings, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. will be $26.25 for 7 hours, $375 additional. And then the non-residents will be $28.50. So you have that option now for a buyout, which is up to 10 hours. Again, the event have to end at 12 a.m. $45 for 10 hours, $450 additional, and then $5,000 for non-residents. And then our Sunday events will be $2,100, and then $2,150 for non-residents.
I have a question. When it has the hours there, are we saying that they have to rent it for the full 7 hours? Like, what if
They will
only
get it
want-
for 7 hours.
But what if they only wanted it to do it for 3 hours? Is that not an option during the prime
No.
time?
No, not for the prime time. No.
Okay.
And then that's inclusive of their setup and breakdown as well.
Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel blessed.
So repass services. Repasses will be a max of 4 hours. The security deposit is $200. And then we're going up to $100 per hour. I didn't put memorial services here. I think that need to fall under regular events. I've seen it where memorial services was an actual event.
Yeah.
So that needs to fall under the either the non-prime time or prime time event prices.
You think so?
Yes.
Apart from a repass?
Let me see parties.
It's a party.
What's the price and history that you know of for a repass? Has it always been $100?
No, it's 85 currently. $85 per hour for, and the max is 4 hours.
So what do you see as the most notable difference between a repass and a memorial?
The difference is it's a whole service, like party. There's been people, there had a band, a DJ, they had food. It's an actual party.
Yeah.
And I've seen people that stayed long, they damaged stuff, and it's not, with that fee, with the repass fee, it's not.
But I guess I'm wondering, is that typical? Like, I've been to lots of memorials in my life, and I've never been to one that was like a party. So I'm I don't want us to make a rule based on something
Well,
that's an exception, like that is not the standard.
So
is
from the
standard, yeah.
majority, the majority ones has been here, that it's been that way.
We even, and Dr. Tyler, we even had one, that last week, where they had, it looked like it was about 300 people. And they were like parking over here, so conflicting with people trying to leave out for the day. They were a little bit non-compliant, so. Trying to avoid that.
In your
Or, sorry, I was gonna, just to go on it, can we restrict or define what a memorial is so that it's not a party? If they're bringing a DJ, then we say, okay, this is no longer a memorial, this is now a party.
But that's the way that they're expressing how they want to memorialize their deceased.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And it's, I understand where Councilwoman Rita's coming from. It's just kind of this gray area of, okay, well, I can just say it's a memorial service to get,
Yeah, and then they do
and then
totally
get the whole
opposite.
shebang.
Right, and that's why I'm saying if we say, okay, these are the terms of agreement for what a memorial service is. If you now try to bring in a live band, this is no longer a memorial service. It
But-
is,
But I also understand, so I understand where you're coming from, but I also understand that if the majority of, the actuals that have happened, the majority of the memorial service has come through Glenarden have been an event, not, a somber repast.
well, that's probably because we had a memorial discount rate and they wanted to have a party.
Have we had a
There-
memorial discount rate?
No.
It
I-
was-
I've had one, I'm actually started to charge them the 15, the prices as a regular rental rent. Because of issues that was happening with just the repass fee. Only $50 to recoup for the security deposit, and they left trash. The kitchen was a mess. Damages, I can't recoup anything with $50.
I see where you're coming from. I
Because
just,
you all were at my dad's memorial. It
yeah.
wasn't a party.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but a lot of times it turns into when it's a young person that has died.
Yeah, and it's
you know,
been
and even
older.
older,
Yeah.
depending. Sometimes people, depending on.
And it's cultural. It could be
it's cultural
cultural.
too.
Oops, sorry.
Yes, that's right.
So could we just think of how we can bridge that gap, right? So you take one memorial service for Councilman Fareed's father. We came, we talked about his life, there were remarks, there was not a DJ. I don't even think there was food, was there? There was food. But it was more so on the level of, it was more so on the level of a repass in that category. And so if we just think about how, if there are ways that we could bridge that gap, to where maybe we do put stipulations in there, to where maybe it's stipulations on the repass side, like, hey, anything that, does not, repasses cannot have DJs or anything like that. So if there's an actual rational memorial that fits into that category, then they can get the repass rate as opposed to getting the
Yeah, and I
full
ask
event rate.
questions. When they
Yeah.
do come in, I do ask them questions, but when it's a whole
Yeah.
shebang, then
Yeah.
that's when it goes to.
And that's what I'm getting at, like what they have. Because I just, it's a time of grieving for people. And we,
Yeah.
just want to be
Right.
sensitive to that, to like not be like, well, you got to pay $1,500, whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's good. You asked all these questions, so you have discernment of whether it's going to be a full-out party or. And the other question I had was, so how does our repass rate stack up against, standard
Low.
in the area?
Very
When
low.
you say low, what's the comparisons?
So let's take a look at that. I have, prices in here from other venues. Well, I don't know if we put the repass ones in here or not. But yeah, they're even at church, some churches, and luckily, First Baptist, I've established a rapport with First Baptist of Glenarden, where they're sending all of their stuff here.
Oh, wow.
And then some other churches in the area as well, but even some of the churches that started to have, they're higher than us. And when the clients call, they were like, okay, that's a great price, because they know that this is the cheapest around.
And can repass happen? Hold on, maybe I didn't read it. Our repass,
And that's why I didn't want to go up too high, but I do think that it needs to be some type of increase with that.
okay,
I remember when I called James Jenkins, I thought they started off at 1,500 for their.
whoa.
I mean,
And I don't want to go that, I think that's kind of ripping off people, especially when they're in need or, going through something, but I do think we need some type of increase here.
Okay, and repass cannot be during prime time.
Yes, it can. If this is their standard fee. any time of the day. That's their price.
So if I want to repass during prime time, then I pay prime time.
That's
members.
what you're going, no.
No,
You're
no,
paying that
repass.
price for under repass. That's the flat fee for a repass, any time of the day. So with Monday through Friday, even the weekends, that will be their price, set price.
Monday through Friday, so they can't have it on a Saturday.
Even on the weekends?
Even on
Even
the
on the
weekends,
weekends.
that is their set price. And the only reason why I did that, because I know that people are grieving, and I know that they're going through something, and that will be their set price.
Okay.
I agree.
I do, just
I
real quick.
don't disagree.
Sorry.
You just think it
I'm
need to be
trying
higher?
to like. I'm not trying to sound cold-hearted or anything like that, but I'm trying to look at it from a business perspective, right? What if our business just becomes repass, where because people are booking repass during these prime times, now we cannot charge the prime time rates for regular events. And so if we did that, then we wouldn't get anywhere. We wouldn't get out of the hole that we're in from a Goldberg perspective. And so how do we humanly and also from a business perspective
Me halfway.
solve that issue?
Well, here's what I see as the difference. When you have an event that's going to take that prime time space, it's unlikely that they're going to call you on Monday and say, I need to use it on Saturday. They would have planned it far in advance. So a repass, though, will be like that, because you never know when someone's going to pass away. So if the person passed away on the weekend and you're having it the following weekend, if it's not available, then it's not available. But it's not necessarily, in my opinion, going to preclude us from having an event, because if there was going to be an event in that short period of time, it probably would have already been booked.
Yeah, the majority of the repasses, they call like a week or two before,
Okay.
which I already know, have events. I would know what my calendar is at that time frame.
Good point. Thank you.
So I want to go back real quick again. So it probably was stated, but just in case it wasn't. So up top where it says Gold Room, it says renal instead of rental. So the T is missing. And when we talk about repass, Ms. Bunn and Camille, do we get, because I know what you and Councilwoman Fareed were initially discussing back and forth, like how do we know if someone's not just trying to get that discount to then throw a bash or something? Do we get like copies of death certificates or things of that nature to verify that there really is somebody who passed away? That may be some way to get around that. The reason why I'm also saying that as a part one to my part two is I can pull up my grandmother's memorial service that we did for her right now, and we're cultural, like I'm Afro-Latina and Caribbean, and after we did the whole service and cried and stuff, we started dancing, because that's what she was known for, dancing, and we celebrated her. And if you were coming from the outside, not knowing, and you came later on, you'd think, these people are throwing a party, but you'll see a big picture of my grandmother in the background, not knowing that earlier on in the day, we were sharing remarks about her and celebrating her life. So, again, thinking about maybe we get copies of their death certificate. I know I was able to get one when she passed away for several things. So that may be something along the way to think about. The second thing,
Sorry, death certificate is going to take a long
not
time.
death certificate, sorry, a program,
So I
sorry.
just want
Maybe
to
we could do
interject
a
real quick
of the
to add
obituary,
to your
but
point. That, and then as to her point, then does that become a memorial service? Because it's cultural, right? You're going to be dancing, you're going to have some music and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that lends itself to what we discussed earlier about how do we differentiate between something like that, which is normal from an Afro-Latina, Caribbean perspective, repass,
Yes.
versus what we traditionally would view as a repass as very solemn and quiet, and
Exactly,
we don't
and
do
that's,
anything.
and that's where someone going back to the go-go conversation, the rock conversation is, this is a diverse community. So
Yeah.
when we say what's normal, repass, normal to whom?
Yeah.
So
Right?
was there a
So-
because I guess when I'm thinking about it, I'm not necessarily thinking that a memorial needs to preclude any type of celebration. But I guess when it's, how organized is this celebration? Like, to the point we're making around a repast or a memorial is usually because somebody passed away in a relatively short period of time. If they're booking, how far in advance are they booking it? You know, like what, are they bringing in a DJ? I don't know if a DJ was involved.
It was, because we knew my grandmother. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I've had some where
I'll pull it up.
someone passed away. I think it was just the one previous to the beginning of this month. They, their husband passed away like a while ago, and they wanted to do like a memorial service for them. So in some cases, it's not like, you know, they don't pass away like right then and there. They want to come back and just, you know, do something for them to just remember them. So, you know, we get those too.
And I have.
And then that's where the party comes in, because, they're, you know.
And I have, one of our closest friends unfortunately had passed away of cancer a few years back. But while she was transitioning, knowing that her time was limited on earth, she was very clear with her instructions as far as when after the service, I don't want anybody crying for me. I don't want anybody like to celebrate party. And so that's what we did. But it was it was literally how we celebrated her. So that's where I'm like, if there's a way to justify, show that the person passed away, whether it's I kept saying death certificate. That's what I meant to say, the program, sorry.
Or obituary or something.
Yeah, those type of things. That's what I because I hear you guys as well, like you don't want somebody taking advantage of something that's well-intended for something else.
And I was
I
going to
had
actually,
learned-
sorry.
I've learned that in the recent years that, I mean, for one, to me, a memorial and a repast are different. And then also, people do not even have funerals like they used to. Some people, they'll come and tell you right now, this is not a funeral. We're going to praise the Lord. We're going to dance. We're going to do this and do that. Then you go to another funeral and they're quiet. You can, you know, it's like people are not even moving. And so, in my opinion, I guess we just, like what Councilwoman Guillaume said, maybe have some kind of document or something, but I do not believe that we should be able to dictate how somebody is going to mourn, because that particular person that may have passed could be a 17-year-old that was into music and you know, and they was honoring that person for that. The same way we can't, you know, I think that's getting a little too restricted. And again, that we can have you know, rules and standard rules and regulations, like you're not going to have a go-go band or you're not going to do this, do that. But, I mean, who's to say that somebody may have a repast and they have, they say a little, some people come up and may say stuff, or they might just eat and don't say anything. They may have a violinist. So that's acceptable, but somebody can't dance. So I think it's just getting too picky at this point, because you cannot tell people how they, because like I said, it could be cultural, it could be whatever, age-wise, and so forth. So we just should have standard rules about, you know, what you can and cannot do, whether it's from the home-cooked meals to go-go bands and stuff like that. But I think I would be offended if,
To the restriction on time, right?
you know, I mean, and then,
To the restriction on time.
yeah, all of that, just the basics, but not to be able to say, you know, if you're having a repast, you can't dance. Or if you know, if somebody say, well, we having a repast, and if they say, well, in our culture, we dance. And then all of a sudden, but it's actually a repast, then you can't say, well, then, no, you need to go to the events. I mean, it's not a repast anymore. I don't think that because somebody dances or somebody sings a solo, or that it should be then taken into another category, because we can't tell people how to mourn.
I agree, and I think this started because there was a suggestion was being made to take memorial out altogether as a type of category. Can we just leave memorial in as a category? Or are you saying no?
I think we need to separate the two.
And that's what I'm saying, they are separate to me.
Separate
you have something to say?
between what?
Repass and
Yeah, but the memorial would be its own category, not
Yes.
that it's repassing in just a party. There's a category for memorial. And I wanted to, I think it was you, Derek, that was asking about the rates. What if we kept the rate at $100 for Glenarden residents and then made it a higher rate for non-Glenarden residents for the repass, if you were concerned about it being too
I
low?
don't think so.
No, I disagree with that.
I think his point, and maybe I'm wrong, but you were saying to up it, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
to increase it for non-Glenarden residents. The rate would be higher for if you're a non-Glenarden
I
resident
think
for
we need to just
repass.
have one standard rate.
I got a question. Speaking of repass and so forth, and like security, for example, I knew you all had security, I think Capitol Heights, coming, they handle events and so forth. So, for repass, for example, what we had with the juvenile, that, parish over here, it was, anticipated that there might be, some people showing up that not supposed to show up. So how y'all covering that with your security company that you hired for, like, are they hired during the daytime too for repass that might have problems?
Yeah, so what I do is just once I get the rental agreement signed, I automatically give them a call and let them know this is what I'm expecting. You know, there could be alcohol or whatever, but the client is paying for the fee, so they'll know ahead of time that there will be security on site as well.
So in an instance, like they was talking about earlier, you said they can't dance and they said it's our culture. And then they start dancing in here, then we got a problem, and how that work?
Well, I think that's part of what the agreements and stuff. I typically go over all of that once signing the rental agreements of like the do's and the don'ts. Are you saying like if something just happened to occur during the day, then I would just have to reach out to that company to come out or something like that if something was to happen.
Yeah.
But that can be with any, that can just happen.
Okay, so want to do a couple things. One, a time check of,
Yes.
how much more time do you think you need for the presentation?
We are almost done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second piece was, and not that we could do this now, but if we're going to increase the repass amount, which I think that we should, have it based on like a legitimate analysis of what are our costs, what does it cost to staff repass, and do that type of analysis to justify us going to wherever we want to go with it. We're not going too high, but we don't want to be so low that we're not breaking even or barely breaking even.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, this is business, so you want to be able to, bring in, have a bottom line so you can reinvest in
Right.
the business.
Okay. And I will just say that will be for memorial services that we will need to just add that cost to.
Okay.
And
Not for
Ms.
repass.
Bunn and Camille, question on the repass, and then, well, let me ask this question first. As far as the rates and all that stuff, right? Like knowing that the conditions of how the Gold Room is right now, like this is considered like pre-renovation or pre-whatever you want to call it, right? First of all, I wish citizens or whoever's watching could see how beautiful you ladies did this, so.
Nicely done.
Very nice, very, very nice, especially the chairs. The high-end chairs, but if we are going to, when are we thinking about as far as implementation of increases? Because if we are still giving people what they would have been getting yesterday, then how do we justify an increase, right? I know we need money to do the work, but again, how do we justify it, right? So that's one, again, I have no right or wrong. For me, there's no right or wrong answer right now that I can think of. So that's one, the implementation part. The second part is, as we're talking about like the repass and memorial or really those. I know that, unless I missed it, but in the prior sections of the presentation, where we talked about you have to give 30 days notice, you have to give 30 days notice, you have to give 60, like things like that. How would they be able to do that? Like, can there be a disclaimer or some, unless, given these circumstances, you need to provide X, Y, and Z deposit by 30 days.
So my hope, once we get a HoneyBook, we already have HoneyBook. It's just a matter of getting all of this approved, and then once it's approved, we can get it up and running on HoneyBook. And once that's done, we'll start sending everything out. My thoughts is we can start spring with the new prices. That'll make sure that we'll have all of the wording, all of that correct, and then we'll have HoneyBook together, and then we can just start running from there.
Okay.
Mhm.
And, you had
What's
a
wrong?
quick question. I wanted to, and this could be a part to another day conversation, but I'm interested in hearing how we why we classify ourselves as a banquet hall. That has been a point of, we do not.
I don't know.
Oh, you do not? Okay, yeah, it shouldn't be banquet hall. like,
Okay.
At all, in the research that we've done. And also, this is something that I want to continue the conversation. I want to go on record and say that, with the exception of one time, I always have catered, I get my things catered because I just don't like the labor of cooking for my stuff. But I do want to go back, not right now, to the liability disclaimer stuff, because I need to understand how some, like Prince George's County allows certain places to have people come in with food and sign a waiver, and how we are saying different. Again, if it's the law, I don't mind that, but I can list like several places and provide links, and I'm like, why is it this way and not that way? And they're in Prince George's County, they're in Upper Marlboro, they're around here.
Right.
So just want some context, so when we get calls, we can actually respond to that. And that was one of the things that I had pushed for prior to you coming, like, hey, there are people who are not in my situation where I have caterers readily available.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'll be quiet now.
So I just wanted to go back because it's not sitting well with me about the repass cost and raising that. It's already, in my opinion, it's $400, right? If you do it for 4 hours, that's $400. Like, the cost of burying someone is so high. And yes, we are a business, but we're also a city government, and we should be able to provide some sort of concession for our residents, particularly given the fact that we have an aging community. And when we think about who will likely want to reach out to us to have a repass, that we would ask them to pay more than $400 and get a caterer. That's a lot of money for someone to do, which is, I understand, trying to balance the cost, and which is why my recommendation would be we keep this cost at what it is for Glenarden residents, and anybody outside of the city would pay more, because as you mentioned, they're coming from other places where they're looking at $1,500. So anything less than that is going to be better for them. But I don't want to make this a situation where people in Glenarden can't even celebrate and memorialize their loved ones who were born and raised in Glenarden because they can't afford the cost of being able to host a repast here.
So I empathize with that, but I can even agree to that. And so my point was to base it on numbers, right? So can anyone here say that $400 covers the full cost to host a repast? I've seen no numbers to support that. So if in maintaining this enterprise, we have to have some type of revenue to maintain it. So if we do the analysis and it turns out that, man, it actually costs us $600 to host a repast. Well, the $400 isn't worth it. It's putting us in the hole.
When you say our cost to host it, what do you mean? The hourly rate of the?
Security and cleaning.
Whatever the cost is.
Guess that's what they talk about.
I don't know all the inputs to that. It could be relatively, low, it could be medium, it could be high. I don't know, which is why I requested that we just look into that. We staff these events. do we provide, tablecloths, and do we have to wash the tablecloths after we do this? All the cost that goes into this thing, because what I don't want to do, what I agree that that is a time of mourning, and that in dealing with those situations, we should be delicate. And I can also see us giving a discount to Glenarden residents, which I think we already give a discount overall to Glenarden residents. However, in seeing more and more businesses make emotional decisions and not business decisions, it's not. I don't think that that is a sustainable model for enterprise to continue to go forward. So all I'm asking is that we analyze the numbers to make sure that things are priced the appropriate way, and we can also balance, what we charge our citizens. But we have to have that financial analysis to put us in the right spot, because right now the Gold Room is losing money. You cannot deny that.
And it's designated as an enterprise for the city of Glenarden. So it's designated as an enterprise, which I have not seen that documentation yet, but I've been told that it's designated as an enterprise for the city of Glenarden. Then it should be making money. It should be able to sustain itself, have revenue to sustain it.
Yeah, that's like morticians and people who offer, these services. It's like that. They would be out of business if they made emotional decisions. They have to base it off of what is the cost now. Some of them could. That's just like insurance companies.
That's not true.
Well, you're not recording. You're not.
It's like something they can.
All right.
So that's all I'm saying.
So we'll go come back and revisit those action items, and then go ahead.
One other point, could you look in your research, these other places that charge more for the repast, are there more that's included? Like when I had my father's repast in New York, it included the food. So I paid a higher cost, but all the food everything was included. So if we're comparing ourselves to other places that are charging more, is that just their flat hourly rate, or?
It's just hourly, they didn't have like food or anything like that included. It's just they're providing like the actual location, seating, and everything.
$1,500 for 4 hours?
And that was on the lower end.
That's absurd.
We called quite a few, that was the one that stood out.
What's it say?
1,500 at the lower end.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
For just the rental of the space, not including anything else. Like I just,
And it's a 2-hour max.
yeah.
So it's in and out. They don't let you stay for long.
Yeah, but I use that as a comparison to what we're charging. And so somewhere there's a gap, right? That's why, and I don't want to generalize people's business. But I'm just saying, I'm just advocating for a reasonable analysis based off actual numbers.
Yeah.
That can inform us of where we should be.
Okay. All right. So we'll get those action items completed and get those back over to you guys. All right. So moving forward, wanted to start closing out. So events for in-house events for 2024 through 2025. We wanted to we were looking into doing a health and wellness expo, which will actually bring in revenue, to partner with the Girls on the Run, for the teenage girls in the area in Glenarden. We wanted to do a program for them to come in. So it's like a mentorship program where you can actually be like a volunteer for the city, for the area, and then they'll come in. They can do marathons, all of that, and you're actually in charge of that.
Is this,
The mics are off.
I'm sorry.
is this for, under administration
This is under the Gold Room. This will be
These are the
How
events
is it
that,
funded?
so there'll be ticketed events.
where you sell tickets online?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Girls on the Run, that doesn't cost anything. That's just a program that we'll put together for the girls and the community.
I'm sorry, can you explain what Girls on the Run is again?
So it's a mentorship program. So we wanted to partner with them, and then put together, like, if they can come in, do different programs, then they can do marathons, and along the city, and we also partner with DC as well. So they get together, and then I can also send you guys some information, but it's just a mentorship program for the teenagers.
But when we talk about run, we're talking about like physical running, so you're, okay.
The organization Girls on the Run?
Yes.
The organization?
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Yeah, the reason why is because there's actually a health and wellness committee that was established by resolution that was actually tasked with doing these types of things. And so it would make sense to do that, particularly the Girls on the Run. At the time, the acting city manager, I don't know if it was Chief O'Donnell. I know I started, no, who was the guy? I forgot his name. He was there when we started.
Al Bryant?
Timothy Timothy, Mr.
George.
Yes.
Timothy George.
We were trying to get a 5K set up, which would actually have required collaboration with other cities, because there's nowhere to run that far, just through Glenarden. So I would just ask that if you all are going to do those events, that they would be in conjunction with that health and wellness committee.
And my goal is to partner with others, if you guys wanted to partner, you know, with some of these events. That was part of my goal as well too. Bridal Expo, and then Taste of Glenarden.
Can I say I really, really, really love the Bridal Expo idea? And this space is prime for that. Like,
Yeah.
And then also,
I don't know what Bridal Expo is.
incorporate, with vendors.
You getting married again?
And yeah, I was just going to add on with the Bridal Expo. That's how I chose the
Can I
venue
be
where I had my
alive and happily
wedding,
married
was I went to a Bridal
another
Expo there. And I
50
think
years?
that
About 40?
if you're going to bring the
50 years.
booze and the vendors, particularly the vendors who are listed as preferred vendors here, I think that will be a great opportunity. And I'm sure you will decorate it lovely, as you've done here.
I'm just shocked that we're having the bridal expo. Where's the groom expo?
oh, you can come. It's for y'all too.
Again, these are going to change again, because we started this earlier, so, and again, you know, when the budget comes out, some of this stuff will change up. But the first phase, we wanted to work on visibility, which is directional signs for outside. I provided you guys with a picture of what that will actually look like. That's in your package. And then
cool.
the stuff will be up with Huntsville.
It's in your, the right-hand side towards the back.
Yep.
It's on this one.
Directional signs is so important because I have people that look for the police department. They come here thinking that this is the actual place to do your fingerprinting, so we definitely need, as a whole, need directional signs. Landscaping, doing some more landscaping outside and bringing inside of here to make it more modernized. Bringing in the inventory, which the gold couldn't possibly produce the gold chairs that we're sitting in today. Linen, audio, and tables, updated contracts. Again, not to start the in-house events, maintenance improvements, which is the towels, cleaning towels, and painting. Now with the painting, I did wanted to, if that was approved, I wanted to do that in sections, because I do know that will cost some fees. But we did get surveys back where it's not turning. But we did get surveys back where some of the guests was looking for improvements. Was looking for improvements to the room, and that was stated. I do have a letter inside where one of the guests, it's not still not working. One of the guests did mention painting.
What color?
I'm thinking something like white, a flat white, and then you can also do different touches with. If you go to.
How about gray?
And that's what I was going to say. Hold on. So this is the color schemes that I was thinking about for here. So the white, the beige, the gray, and brown to go together for in here. And it can you can do like focal walls or just having just a white, but also having the tones of this as well.
I just want to say that I want us to consider the fact that there does appear to be an excess of ARPA funds, and, you know, considering the fact that ARPA is supposed to be designated for revenue recovery, I would say that we really should consider using some of those excess funds to make the upgrades in this room so that it can be at the, you know, like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't want you to piecemeal janky style update the room. You know, like if there needs to be renovations and the room needs to be closed for a few weeks or whatever to really overhaul it, I think that would be a better, you know, path than trying to kind of carve out a little piece of budget, because we have to use that, we have to use those ARPA dollars.
Yep.
But
And I
obviously,
actually had someone come in, interior designer come in. She gave me numbers, so I can show you guys those too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I actually like that. I actually like that idea, Councilwoman Fareed, without knowing what the numbers are. Let me say that. But knowing that, number one, we do need to get these ARPA dollars out of the door, and more importantly, or similarly, on the level of importance, is unlike a lot of the other things that we have invested in right now, which are worthy things, this particular investment would basically be a return on there'll be a greater return on the investment with all that you've presented, you and Camille have presented thus far, so.
I can talk offline about some of my ideas. To understand that it could be a touchy subject, because for our elderly citizens, like this is the goal. You know, it has been this way for a long time, and you know, some people hold on to their memories. So I just wanted to
Yeah, and again, part of my goal is, you know, we still want to cater to our residents here, but we also want to get the word out.
We could, like, so you mean like a rebranding?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this could stand for massive renovations, not even just from an event, the events that we're talking about perspective, even from when we host events here as council members. How difficult is it even when we're trying to speak to people using the podium? You know, like the monitor, like, you know, there are definitely upgrades that this room could use that would be beneficial for many purposes. And we need to earmark those dollars. I think we have like half of it. It's a lot of money left.
That's why we're saying we need to do the renovations for the
We could invest more.
Yeah, well, I was thinking after the renovations for the nutritional center, we still only have like half left, like half the money left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so some of the other items is planners in the lobby, modernized furniture in the lobby, hardwood floors in here, Keep going.
Yeah, because this.
Because yes, it costs a lot of money just to do cleaning, and just to think about the cleaning, per year, it's better just to have a flat surface, a floor, and then it's easier to clean.
Can I ask
I was
also?
gonna ask you, how often do you, have to, shampoo, because I saw
So
6.
since I've been here, it's been twice, well, 3 times.
Okay.
One for a professional, and then we actually got in-house to do it, but it's only lasts like 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then it's back dirty again.
Can we get the?
Came up here, the carpet was a deep navy, it had little flowers in it that were different colors that you had to look down and see. But predominantly, it was a royal navy that, and it was a plush carpet that gave it a more elegant look than what we had.
Yeah, but when you go to different venues now, they don't have carpet. They just have a flat space, and it's also easier to clean it to keep cleaned up too.
Yeah. What I was going to suggest also is to add into, when you look at the renovation of the room, is the bathroom.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, with the carpet, it's really, they're trying to certain demographics. And so I think we really wanna make it more broad, so everyone feels inclusive with it. And just, to be quite frank, the carpet also traps in the smell.
That's what I was about to say.
As soon as we have an event, it's like, the smell is already there from whatever food that they had, and then you have to do a mad dash to try to alleviate some of that smell before the next event. It's really difficult to do, especially if you don't have time to shampoo all the time.
I got an idea. Can we pack this all with red?
Nutritional center.
Ms. Bond, and see, and use that, because instead of going up there trying to get another designer
Yeah.
and trying to get that all through the
Yeah.
council, we already have somebody that's designing
Okay.
upstairs. And so if you guys meet,
Mhm.
you guys need to do something, and we can add that to the, consultation that we're gonna do. I think it's passing for $25,000, just add on to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Then we can even be in the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 2024.
Yep. Yep. So just to finishing up, so podiums, landscaping, flowers, just a landscaping outside. And then I wanted to bring this to your attention. So I wanted to do a promo flyer for the winter promo of flyer for not for Glenarden residents or anyone that's referring a friend. So I do have this flyer here. I wanted to get you guys approval for that so I can get that going. Again, winter months is kind of slow, so just for marketing purposes, and then just to get other events in here and more income coming in, I wanted to start this so we can get more income in.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
I have to say I cheated when the packet was here, and that was the first thing I saw. So my non-council member life was beyond excited to see this.
And then that's it. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
For everything.
Yes.
Again,
This is wonderful. I would like to commend you on your professionalism and the way that you presented all of this information to us. Thank you so much. Well
Thank you
appreciated.
so much.
And what I appreciate also, in addition to what Councilwoman Farid said to both you and Camille, is I like transparency, and I like people who are like, we know what we know, and what we don't know, we just don't know. So
Yeah.
sometimes people just try to talk their way into something, so I really like that, and you dealt with us and our million questions, so thank you.
Good. So before I close, I wanted to say a few things. I got you. So for some strange reason, I feel I was picked for this position. Of course, anyone can be hired for a job, but I believe I was positioned here at this time and place to create change. Not even change here, but to stretch myself as a leader, a co-worker, a dreamer. I truly believe that this is more than a place that just holds cabarets back in the day. But I believe that this is a place where we can create something new, not only for citizens of Glenarden, but for everyone. However, to do that, we all have to stretch ourselves a little. My goal is to make a difference in anything that I touch. And as I close today, I want to ask, do we just want this to be a historic venue to be talked about or discussed throughout the DMV area? Do we want to stay stagnant or try to generate new revenue, new followers, or new income? So thank you again, and I yield, and I look forward to new beginnings. All right.